2 years to get more ordinance enforcement done with the officers. And they've done a great job with it, and a lot of our same properties we're having problems with are the foreclosures and everything else like that. But as far as stopping by, and he's not gonna be out taking the calls for, the animals, the burglaries, the thefts, and
Right.
yards. I mean, it'd
And
just
I'm
be.
not saying no, I'm just saying, I find it disturbing that we're gonna assign him just that, where each officer should already be following and doing those,
Our
not just
our other
specifically
officers
one
would still be
officer.
doing ordinance.
Yeah, they would still be doing it well. It's really
I mean,
the
I
same
don't want
thing,
to-
yeah.
Let him do all of that,
Right,
they are
right.
still continued, right?
That's
We're
correct.
not gonna-
Yeah, no, it's not in lieu of, it's in addition to. So, and also for the public, and this is jumping into recent activity, but here over the Labor Day weekend, we had a rash of vehicle break-ins. Literally probably upwards of 15 to 20 vehicles that were entered. We do know some of the suspects that are identified. We're working to get all of them done. They're primarily all juveniles. But for the public, and Gary, if you can get this out too, just make sure you guys lock your doors. It's everyone that we dealt with over the Labor Day weekend was all crimes of opportunity. These kids are going around at 2 o'clock in the morning, pulling on the car doors. If it's locked, they go to the next one. If that one's open, they're in and they're taking everything. Along those lines, we have recovered a vast amount of the property that was stolen already. However, we have some recovered property that's not been reported stolen yet. So for anybody, share it with your neighbors, friends, family. If anything happened over the weekend where their car was broken into and you haven't gotten a hold of us, and I've heard from some people, well, there's nothing you guys can do because it's kids and we'll never find the stuff. No, we found the stuff, but we'd like to get some of the stuff back to the property owners. Like, so we have some pretty expensive stuff that's been recovered. So just share that with everybody. I would appreciate that. Any questions before open forum?
Did that rush of breaking some cars from the south end, or just?
It was all over.
All over the community.
And it was funny, you actually, if you map them all out, you could see the path that they took.
It's like, that's
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How come our squad cars can't stay in our town and get paid from?
Well, they're patrolling in town.
They're patrolling Terre Haute just as much as they are over here.
Well, and especially in August, we did have the Vigo County DUI Task Force. That's a county-wide agreement. But, that's,
So
our
we're people
officers,
breaking our cars and stuff while our cops.
now, our officers, in fact, when they're, and we've started this within the last 6 months, our officers that are on duty in town or leaving town, now, which they have to do quite often, they have to take people over to jail, get gases over town, they have to go to hospitals, for different calls. But yeah, everything's logged, so if there's ever a circumstance where somebody's out of town, we have a log on that. So, we do have, because our officers are staying in town. I will say, I've been in a couple times to double check on that.
Scott, I do have a question. A couple of weeks ago, there was an incident where one of our officers ended up in Ballard Park. Something was going on there. With my own eyes, I seen him going down the grade at least 80 miles an hour, heading toward Terre Haute. But yet we have another officer, we only have one, you say, here, why is he heading there when it's way down south? And when we don't have guys to cover ordinances here?
If he went that far, he was dispatched. Do you know what day that was? Because I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, it's in the paper, I can look it up online, because it even shows our vehicle there, I don't understand.
One of them might have been, we've started an MOU with the central dispatch. What, do you know what vehicle it was?
It was SUV, it was not
Okay.
Frosty, because I seen Frosty.
It would have been Officer Talbot. He's a canine officer. He has been called several times out of town, and that's through the sheriff's office. Dispatch is dispatching him out. Primarily because there's no other dog available.
Yeah, I'm just asking, because I've been approached, people have seen it on TV, and when I seen him calling out of town, it was at least 80 miles an hour down the grade.
Did he have his license on?
Lights on, no siren.
Well,
It's
yeah,
that's
he's
what I'm
going
not
to
saying. I'm
emergency
just saying,
call, yeah.
Why did, you know,
Well, I talked to Robin Boland, who's the director of the Vigo County Central Dispatch. Basically, the agreement that we've all entered into, and this is Terre Haute, Vigo County, West Terre Haute, when it comes to the deployment of a canine unit, is if it's in Terre Haute and they need a canine officer, they're going to send a Terre Haute canine officer. If he's not available, they're going to send a county canine officer.
They were
Use Officer
there.
Talbot as the last resort. Now, there's been a couple calls lately I've noticed where they've requested multiple canine teams. That's been for some high-level felony type calls. So, unfortunately, police work's police work, and I could say in the times I've worked here, if somebody needs a police officer, I mean, they're going to send the closest police officer. If there's a special ability or special type of equipment that can be
Yeah,
offered.
when we're asked, I want to be able to
Oh, yeah.
tell them why, and especially when they were there at the park
And
They're
I,
already canine
since
care.
we've gone to the RMS, I actually look over the calls daily and see what's gone to, and with the particular one with Calpis, because,
I don't know if it's him or not.
well, yeah, it would have been, if it's an SUV and it wasn't, I'm sorry, Crush, I would have been Calpis. The times that he has gone out of the town for the canine within the last 2 months, it's all been when he's working projects. So he's working for the DUI task force or for Operation Pullover, which there was plenty of money for that in August due to all the events. and whatnot. So, in that case, yeah, we still left an officer here in town, but yeah, they were calling him because he was a canine. Any questions?
Yeah, the other night from the county, they said that, in Clay County, they had a problem, but they said, we'll volunteer to help you. Why didn't they all take one of our cars out of town? They sent them all the way to Clay County to help.
What kind of call was that, do you know?
I forget what it was, it was some kind of arrest, they needed help. Now, this is a bunch of bull.
I have not seen any of that in our call volume.
No, because Vigo County said, I will not pull nobody out of that floor out of their district, come for our assistance.
Now, our officers, they won't volunteer, and we've talked about
They
this. as
did
well.
volunteer that night.
Well, I'll absolutely, they're not supposed to, unless, I mean, obviously, towed off, if there's a violent
Well, I
domestic towed
know,
off.
they go off, so
Yeah, they
why,
can-
why would?
No, there should be,
County not approve?
no, unless they are asked by this supposed to go.
Yeah.
It didn't show up in the thing. What time,
Miami
what day that
Gardens
was?
Road. I'll get what night it was now.
I'll call over to dispatch.
But it was, it's not, what kind of, I'm trying to think the name of the road. Right there, 340 and 40. Yeah.
No, I'm stunned to hear that, I've never.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why would we volunteer to go that road?
No, and then.
Michael County should not have to.
No, I'm not familiar with that at all, and they should not be doing
But
that.
I mean, that happened the other night.
Any questions? Further ones?
Bob, you have a street report, I know you've been working on water. I didn't know what
We
you
did
did.
a little bit of action the other day, and that's all we're doing on the street. We got one out there on Gilbert Road, but it can't be
Need a motion to adjourn the meeting for the town.
Second that motion.
All those in favor? I'd like to call to the order of the meeting, the wastewater, I've read the minutes, I have no problem with the minutes, I need a motion to approve the minutes for the wastewater.
Make a motion to the minutes of the wastewater.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have asked Jim and I've contacted Terre Haute City. Jim, how much have we saved with the sewer plant since we went with Terre Haute City?
You're saving at least $100,000 a year. They don't tell everybody in Terre Haute to save that kind of money. It's their problem.
I have asked Mark Thompson, who is the director over the sewer, to extend his contract. So he has drawn up an extended contract to get us through. We've increased the wastewater balance by $92,000. I'd like to continue moving forward with that. They've done an excellent job. We've not had any complaints. I'm sure your office probably hasn't had any complaints since they've taken over. So
The only complaints we get, Scott, are ones caused by our rural route customers. They just refuse to stop putting grease, condoms, sanitary napkins, toys in those grinders, and they just burn them up.
dish towels, everything. Anything you can imagine, it goes down the drain, so.
And they just, I think we've had one call in West Terre Haute in 3.5 years. So where the grinders are concerned, it's a mess.
Okay.
And they're $1,700 a grinder now. And if you have to put controls in, you're almost to $4,000.
How many grinders do you have total?
400. And they're all 20 years old or so now, except ones we replaced. But some of them we replaced twice and 3 times in the time I've been here, which is 4 years.
So I'm looking at renewing that contract with the wastewater company in Terre Haute.
certainly be great for West Arrow to do that.
Right. And we will, also, Jim, you're talking to Pat Callahan on a rate study again?
Yeah. You know, you sit here and you talk about finance of the town of West Arrow. You say, well, why did you raise rates? Why didn't you raise rates? Your records are so bad. You know, like I told you people many times at meetings, you came here and griped at this board about stuff. And where were you the last 20 years? What happened the last 20 years was much different than what's happened the last 4 years. And we have got too much money being paid into the sewer department now, into the wastewater. And I think we should, wastewater and water and stormwater and trash are all under the same guidelines. You can only spend the money for those purposes. Why I said this, let's reduce the trash rate, because we can't spend that money for anything other than the trash contract. Well, so far we've been able to collect from you folks well enough that we can lower the rates to $11. We still have immense problems collecting water and wastewater. We had 200 people, 135 in town, 65 in the rural route, that got disconnect notices for the day. 200 people out of 1,600. That's every month. Every month we go through this. Every month we go through from 6 to 12 people getting liens put on their wastewater because their renters won't pay their bills. And, you know, and right now we're accumulating too much money in wastewater. But I don't know how much we can reduce it. So I recommend that we hire Pat Callahan, who's done our rate studies in the past, to see if we can reduce those rates to the wastewater. And if we can, we'll be the only water combination in Vigo County that's charging less money for wastewater than they're charging for water. Everybody else charges more, and we do too right now, more for wastewater than we charge for water. But we've got, 4 years ago, we had no money in debt service. We had no money in bond and interest. Now we got 2+ years of payments in those funds. We don't need to keep accumulating additional funds for those. We need to make sure we keep a year of debt service and a year of bond and interest for the future. But we don't need 3 and 4 years of it.
That's the only thing you can use it for, Jim?
That's all you can use it for. That's
Can't
not-
take it out and fix the streets or sidewalks?
Nope.
They did that in the past, Larry. They did that in the past year. The last 4 years, we have tried to allocate things to be spent for the purpose it's supposed to be spent for. And wastewater is wastewater. Stormwater is stormwater. Trash is trash. Water is water. Now, we spend water money and wastewater money on this building. We spend money on the storage building from water and wastewater.
Because they're utilized by those employees, so we can use them all. Utilities are divided by 3.
And we don't spend much money as a town. We just don't have any extra money in town.
But that's the only place you can spend it.
We can allocate it.
But you can't take stormwater money and spend on roads, or you can't take sewer water and spend on water. It all has to stay in that entity for that department.
And that's dictated by the state, not by us.
When I took office, Larry, in 2003, we were $500,000 in debt. What do we got now, when combined in all the accounts?
We got $1,700,000. When I started 4 years ago, we had $800,000. We've more than doubled it in the last 4 years. We don't need to continue to double it if we can't spend it for those purposes.
So we went from 500,000 in the hole to 1.75 million. So you add that, that's 2,250,000 is what we came since I've been in office. So we're looking at lowering the sewer bills. Jim, do you need a motion to Pat Callahan, he should have most of that, what, oh wait, he done the stormwater, didn't he?
He's done this, it shouldn't be that long, and it shouldn't be that expensive. Because we just raised the rates a year and a half ago. And now we've got accurate records for him to base what we need. We did not have accurate records before, but we've got the records now and can show him what it's costing.
So I need a motion then to have Pat Callahan do a rate study. I'll make that motion.
I second that motion.
All those in favor? Jared, anything under wastewater? No, sir.
Do you want to do anything on those awnings or not?
Yes, I have that right here, I was getting ready to send you that. And what we're looking at is putting some awnings on the building, wherever I've done that. Right here it is. Steel guard, we're gonna put it over the police department entrance, the town hall entrance, and this town hall entrance. The amount is $4,095 and a penny, and that can be paid out of, you wanna pay that out of wastewater, then Jim?
We can pay it out of wastewater, we can divide that between wastewater and water. What do you want to do?
We'll just pay it out of wastewater, the richest fund we have right now. I need a motion then to accept the, quote for $4,095.
Make that motion.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Jim, you need to sign yours?
Not at this point in time, it's just, I agree. Okay, thank you.
Jim, the financial report, the wastewater, you want me to read it or you got it?
In the operating fund, we've got $134,718.95. In the bond interest fund, we got $230,118.56. And in debt service, we got $114,750. So all funds are in remarkable good shape.
I need a motion to accept financial report.
Make a motion to accept financial report.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Need a motion to adjourn the meeting of the wastewater.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting of the wastewater.
Second that motion.
All in favor? I'd like to call the order of the waterworks. I've read the minutes, I have no problem with the minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes for the waterworks.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for waterworks.
I second that motion.
All in favor? National Water Service of Paoli will perform maintenance checks, testing for $250 a year. Is that right, Jim?
Yes.
January, February 2016. You want us to go ahead and, you need a motion to do that?
Yeah, I thought that we should go ahead and approve January, February, so the council wouldn't have time to approve that and get them here. But it's the same firm that fixed our Cherry Grove water problem, our stormwater problem.
Okay, I need a motion then to have them perform maintenance checks on the pump station.
Or each well.
Well, and pump station, so,
What's that, Robert?
the wells and the pump station.
No, 250 is well.
Yeah, just wells.
Or well.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Town council needs to pursue a final Commonwealth Water Improvement Project. Jim, what do you have on that?
Well, basically, we've asked them to reapply for the grant, because everything we've done with this Commonwealth project is involved grant money, and they turned us down. They didn't have money, so when the new board comes in the meeting, and also October, November, and December, if any money becomes available while we're in office, they're going to use our proposal from the past to do this. And we don't have to do anything except approve that at this point in time.
Is that replacing the pipes, is that what you're talking about?
We're talking about the project that's been advertised for the last been here and made proposals to town council meetings, just continuing to try to get grant money so we can go ahead and pursue that. We didn't feel like we should put all that on the citizens of West Terrell without any grant money. And that's what we would have to have done.
Why did they turn us down?
They didn't have any money. It was late in the year when we had asked for it.
So it'll be up to the new council, we'll need to make sure they pursue that.
So we're
The
asking,
paperwork's done, we just gotta reapply. Hopefully that'll happen.
And that was the major upgrade for like the whole water system. That's when they brought in all the big poster boards.
it's going to turn out to be a $4 million project if it's ever finalized.
We did get a resignation from Steve Creasy. We discussed that under the town on replacement for him. Bob, also, you spoke with Marty Warren on the cuts. Did you get that all straightened out? We need to make sure we get those billed in a timely manner.
Yes, and I got that one bill today, and Randy Sullivan stopped by here and asked about a water credit. He said, well, since you got that bill, he said, did you do the one on the due part? I said, no, we've not got to it yet. So we're waiting to get that, but we're going to start calling every day on that one.
Yeah,
So
we
that's
need-
been on since the first day of the year. Matter of fact, that's the last water, hasn't shut yet. And it's not a problem, it's not a pothole or anything, that I'm not gonna listen to the fucking driver about it, since it's been sitting there for a year, they've not said a word.
Well, make sure, if we cut it as a town, we need to make sure.
Well, we're gonna fix it, but it's not an easy.
And I understand you don't let that settle out and everything else.
And it is settled, it's so tight.
And having the mandatory too.
That's the grant part to get it.
Okay. Just make sure we get them in a timely manner. Thank you. Turn on the turn off meter tag.
And I've got some examples of some of the things that happened in your packet.
Okay.
People call up, want to know if the hydrant's working or not. We've asked, is that hydrant working? We've got no response back in the office. I go back up to the insurance office, the woman says, is the hydrant from my house working? I asked again, we get no response. What do we tell these people?
You got a response, you read the paper.
Don't we, pressure test these?
Hey, volunteers supposed to do that, ain't they?
Get that
That
list
was
from
in
them.
We
the
got a
thing,
hydrant.
when they took over, they supposed to.
And the hydrant was flushed on 83.
Okay.
And,
The hydrant in front of my house was not flushed at all this time.
well, yes, it was, because I was there when they flushed it.
You want to come
Yes,
down and
sir.
look at my water, you want to come and look at my water box?
I can't remember what your water was like, but the hydrant was flushed, because I was standing right there with Roger and.
I can show you the blackest water you can find. My house.
You might show me that, but it was flushed, I seen it. And the book says that when I first was flushed on the 8.3.
When mine was flushed correctly, I had clean water for several months.
Well, that was my first question, I asked the next door neighbor, and she said, yes, they did flush it. She said, look at my driveway, the rocks were gonna blow off of the driveway where they flushed. And that's why I wrote on your paper that I stuck back in your office today for yesterday.
You've got some complaints in the office on the water line, Jim. It's, 519 South 7th Street.
Right.
That's 514.
514, I read 519, I'm sorry. We did go down and, the lady had asked us to put in a meter set. And when we done that, Bob had tore the pipe up going to the house. The lady's 8 months pregnant. Bob said if she'd pay for the pipe, that we would make sure that that got put in the ground for her. So, do you have a bill for that pipe or how many feet she used?
And he's never issued a bill for it. I told him it's 80 feet of pipe, I think we paid 35 cents a foot for it. And I don't see anything wrong with it, I go to pipe, I don't know how long the house has been tore down, that the pipe originally went to, the pipe was junk, and it wasn't deep enough to start with. So now it's 48 inches deep, it's a full length pipe, I don't have to worry about having problems with my foot. Or any other thing.
What we do with other people, call in water lines, trying to do their.
Wait a minute, Jim.
If,
I come into
You're
that
out of
office,
order,
I tried to
Scott.
pay for that bill.
You're out of order.
I tried to pay for
You're
that.
out of order, Scott.
hold on.
If anybody asks me to put a meter set in and I break the line, yes, I'm gonna put another line in.
Good for you. Good.
And I don't see no problem about helping. Don't we come and clean your sidewalks off, put salt down in the winter time?
If
We
we,
don't help you.
You didn't.
No, but my workers did.
No, he didn't. Chuck did.
okay, if
And so
we,
did Steve Creasy, and so did Roger.
Jim, if we break the line, we'll repair it. I mean, we're obligated to do that.
Even when we get asked for locates beforehand, for a week beforehand, we know we're gonna break it.
No, we need to make sure we get our.
I gotta call locates every time I do it. It don't make no difference if I do it this week or next month. That locate has to be called in.
I'm writing this meeting up, I'm writing this up, that you guys made the call, I didn't make the call. Because the state board of accounts comes, I'm not paying $500 and some dollars. It's the board,
For what?
give an okay to do this.
You seem like you have a personality conflict with this gentleman, and I oppose that.
Jim, if we tore the line up, then we need to fix it. And we would do that for anybody else. And if anybody else disagrees with me, then speak up.
I mean, I guess our options, Jim, if the town's liable for breaking something, if they sue us, then we're gonna be obligated to attempt, I mean, if we prove that we were negligent, then it's gonna be a big lawsuit, you're gonna pay attorney fees and all that, versus if you enter into an agreement to fix it, and there's no harm, no foul. I guess you're just mitigating a possible lawsuit, in my opinion. Otherwise they'd sue us and we turn over our insurance company or possibly raise our rates or whatever.
You want Don to pay the, Don offered to pay
Absolutely,
it.
any material used, you need,
He offered to do that. He
somebody needs to pay for the material,
He
absolutely.
offered to do it, I couldn't wait till we had the meeting.
Okay, yes, he needs to pay for the material.
It's $26 for
Whatever.
I'll help you.
I'll pay for it, but somebody gotta give me a bill.
So was that put in on town time, like between 8 and 4?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was, so we need to bill for that as well, 2 guys plus an excavator?
No.
No?
Not when I tear the line up.
Excuse me, bud.
I'm talking to the board.
Well, let me answer your question. I also was off of work that day. I helped them with that. They was gonna put that meter in for the last month, only they didn't have time. Now, me personally, I pay this town $5,000 to $6,000 a year in water service and trash bills. I pay taxes on 11 pieces of property. And when I loaned my equipment to the town, I didn't try to send the town a bill for them using my equipment when they was doing street cleaning, just to help the town out. If more people in this town were interested in giving instead of taking, this would be a lot better place to live.
If it wasn't against the law for our guys to go on the property and do them things, then maybe.
Well,
it
if
wouldn't
that
be a
line
problem.
hadn't have broken, they wouldn't have been on the property.
Then you replace the 2 foot you broke with a clamp and tell the homeowner, you probably need to get that fixed.
So you left a lady that's 9 months pregnant with no ability, anybody else resources to do that. He was digging, he was doing a job. In that process, the pipe was broken.
I
He
wouldn't
had to
approve the
start
trailer to
and
be
finish.
where a house set anyway.
Okay, well, you guys can run this town however you like in December,
Right.
January 1st, until then.
Correctly.
If they want it, and that's fine. If they want to come arrest me for helping an 8-month-old pregnant woman on a pipe that we broke off, then let them come arrest me.
There's a thing called common courtesy.
Yeah, he's not.
I need a motion to pay the bills in the town, or I'm sorry, for one of the water works. Make a motion to pay the bills for water works.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Jim, financial report?
Hey, Scott, we didn't talk about the doors.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
balance of $294,908.97. Depreciation, $62,452. Consumers deposit, $100,041.67. And remember now that the waterworks operating is overstated because it's also got the wastewater, stormwater, and trash, everything in it from the previous
So
month,
it gets transferred.
like it is every month.
I need a motion to accept financial.
Make a motion to accept the financial report.
Second that motion.
All in favor? I have a quote here from Earl Rogers and Associates. The north well, south well, the door frames have been let go for so long that they rotted out. Just like these doors on the rest of town hall, they are encased in concrete. Nobody else wants to do them. Earl Rogers they've replaced this door, which I think they've done a fantastic job on. Do you have any complaints on the work that they've done, Jim?
No.
We have, though, a quote here, and this is to replace the door frames, hardware, They're also going to demolish 2 portions of concrete block. Bob, can you explain a little bit better?
The north well, they're gonna take the doorway completely out and close that up, and move the door to the west side of the building and raise it up to about 3 feet. That way, the landing and truck under the chlorine pumps will extend it out, they'll go right straight in on it. And we'll put some steps out in front of it. The upstairs, they're gonna close off that one door, block it up, take the door completely out, because it's only leaking, that water in there. Brian does want water in there on our control panels. So that door needs to be taken out and blocked up. The south well, we're only gonna raise the door up 2 blocks. And that way, the door's up higher than the lock is. So there will be a hole right there for the freeze, and winter time you can't get in.
Okay. And that quote came in to do this work was $9,075. That it also includes painting the door frames in a color selected by us, and weather strips, sweeps. Bernie's Lock and Safe will come in and replace the locks, get them all the same. That's an additional, $600 it looks like.
The additional language for.
That's to do Ferguson Hill and Armor Hill.
Change the locks, the whole thing is for Ferguson Hill, for Armor Hill.
Okay. Jim, do we have the funds to do this?
Yes.
I need a motion then to accept the bid from Earl Rogers.
You want to do it separate?